think we're definitely inspired by natural forms. I think that's sort of something that we really kind of started, was trying to work with natural shapes as opposed to making things. I mean, so working with things that look like rocks with lots of natural textures on them, or beating the silver so it looked like a stone or something like that. And that kind of idea, and working with things that feel organic, has sort of evolved over time as we've been doing this now for 7 years. So when we, for example, came across like natural materials that were prehistoric, 10,000-year-old fossilized bones, or being able to work with a horn, it's a really easy progression for us, because it fits into that handmade but still quite natural kind of ruggedness that you can just kind of find in nature. Yeah. I mean, I guess everything we do sometimes we start with an idea with a concept, but often the concept sort of emerges as you are making the collection. You start to see what it's sort of starting to feel like, and you kind of go in that direction, or you go in that direction. But
sometimes it's sort of, we maybe need another bracelet, so we'll be a week doing 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 bracelets.
Yeah.
And then it'll happen with the rings as well. But it's, the start's probably the most thought process, the very, very start of each piece.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're not really influenced by what's selling, or we probably should be more influenced by these things, but generally a collection will start with one piece, and then if we like it, we'll make another piece to go with that one, and then we make another one to go with that one, and then maybe there'll be an accident that'll sort of surprise you, and then from that point you start moving in another direction. And I mean, our collections end up being quite large, probably just because we love to make things. That's why we do everything ourselves, and we do everything by hand, is because we love that kind of process.
We probably at time make too many things, and we can't let go. Which I suppose it is good and bad at the same time.
I guess another really big thing for us is this idea of history, because obviously jewelry is something that human beings have engaged with forever. Back in, you find remains of these ancient civilizations that all got jewelry on, the Egyptian, all the way back to Egypt. So the idea that jewelry has come from somewhere, and then also because it's made from a solid metal, it's going to go somewhere after you're not here, or after you've lost it and someone else has found it. So with all the pieces, we try to really put that idea of timelessness or time into it, so it has a sense of history, or it feels like it's come from an ancient civilization, or maybe somewhere in the future, or so using these materials, or like the old vessels that we created, inspired by these Egyptian vessels that we saw in the museum, or all these carved kind of beading, and the carved links having that really old kind of feel, and then polishing it also, so it also feels a bit new, or working with the way that this sort of Victorian style of creating a necklace, or or using these older kind of style of diamonds, where we're not using traditional brilliant cut stones. We're using these old rose cut stones that are shaped and cut on an old saw, not essentially with a laser, or burning the silver so that it feels like it's been sitting in a chest for 200 years. So this idea of time, and this idea of this old way of making things is something that we really, really, really focus on. For example, show you something like this. We make it, we construct it. It doesn't have any springs in it. It's an old kind of closure method, an old silversmithing method. And you have this beautiful clean cuff, and then we put the age into it by, making it look like it's lived 100 lifetimes already.
But still having an element of new sort of fashion, I suppose, because we are essentially a lot of our business is in the fashion industry, so having that fine balance of making things that are old, that fashion wasn't a thing at that time, but being brought into sort of sitting beside beautiful handcrafted, fashion pieces, and sort of sitting within walls of amazing designers as well. Because recently we have, over the last 2-3 years, sort of the finer side of the finer jewellery side of the business has grown. We do a lot of wedding things now. It's quite a fun, happy time when we do this with a lot of people that we get to work with. I suppose it's one of the more happier times in their lives, but we are learning a lot about stones, diamonds, all precious stones, come all sorts of shapes and forms. We suppose we're sort of untraditional in a way, is that right, Andy? With the wedding stuff, a little bit our raw aesthetic is carried through into that.
Yeah, so all the wedding rings that we make, or all the finer pieces, again, we're not trying to use laser cut certified GIA diamonds.
We do some with them, but
we do work with them sometimes if clients request it. But we prefer to work with something that maybe has inclusions in it, looks a bit speckled, is cut on an old machine, so it's not a perfect shade. Because it's those little kind of imperfections that, for us, make things unique. They make things one of a kind, as opposed to, the exact diamond that's
everyone has.
Everyone has a 5mm perfect, brilliant cut stone. For us, it's a lot more interesting to find one that's a bit off to one side, or
some colour through it.
We work a lot with sort of these old black diamonds, or, for example, things like this, where we have all these kind of really raw diamond beads, or sort of smoky cut stones, smoky stones, old cuts. For us, that's just a bit of a nicer story. One person who helps us, he's an amazing goldsmith and stone setter, and he helps us set the diamonds when we're working with expensive diamonds. We obviously want to make sure that they stay in the rings properly, and so we work with him on that. But other than that, Goldie and I will work very closely on developing what we call the master collection. So what you're seeing here, the first piece of everything, will sort of construct all the elements and put all those pieces together, and then once we get to the stage where we have our orders and all that kind of stuff, that's sort of when our paths sort of split, and we end up I end up dealing mostly with our clients and focusing on the branding and focusing on the sales. Goldie is sort of tied to the jewellery desk, producing all of the work that goes out to our stores.
Then that way it can be a little bit more consistent with things as well. Both emailing the same person probably wouldn't work too well. So I think with any business you have to have your set roles. Otherwise, as I said before, you just want to do the making. We have done a bit of work with a master engraver. I suppose we do. He does a lot of work for bespoke and sort of one-off pieces for us, but he has done a little bit of work with us for our sort of main back catalogue collection. So sort of quite a dying craft, the hand engraving, especially to this type of level. But this gentleman there's another guy we do work with a lot. His name's John, and he's actually an English guy. He's about to retire, so we sort of want to get as much as we can out of him. But he did all the one big ring, or the rings for the Lord of the Ring trilogy. So that was quite a neat story working with this this guy. It's quite amazing. I don't think I would even be able to get to do anything quite like what this guy can achieve with a little one tool and a microscope.
Our story started out of no training. We're both completely untrained. Where we sort of started making some graphics for some T-shirts. It sort of developed into.
We met in a clothing store.
Yeah, we met in a clothing store. People were asking us, they liked what we were doing with the graphics, so you should make some clothes. So we made some clothes, and I think one day we decided we made some jewellery for a photo shoot, and then suddenly someone had a friend who had a shop, and then they wanted to buy the jewellery, and then we started to make some more jewellery, and it sort of developed from there. We started teaching ourselves and making a lot of mistakes along the way, for sure. And one of the things that when you figure out the correct method of doing it, you sort of slap yourself on the forehead and go, oh my god, I can't believe I spent 5 hours doing it this way, now I know how to do it in 10 seconds the other way. But I think it's also important to make those mistakes yourself, because I think you remember those lessons a lot better as well. We're really engaged with the press that much, and we've never really engaged with that celebrity market either. I think for us it's just been consistently coming to Paris, consistently emailing the people and sending out our photos of our work, and gradually people have found it, worn it. Maybe someone said, oh, where'd you get that from? Got it from these guys. And we've been doing it for 7 years now, so I think it's definitely been a slow building process for us, but it's sort of slowly getting the brand out there a little bit more really helps. And also, if you get a great store, other people with stores generally go into great stores, and then they maybe see some product, and then they come and see the collection as well. There are a lot of really, really great stores that haven't bought our collection yet. Our work's probably not for everybody, and those people that have bought it, it's for them, and if it does well, then they'll keep buying it, and the brand will keep growing. That's traditionally how any kind of brand evolves, I guess. For us, we don't really engage with the celebrity thing. I think our pieces are too, I don't know. A good example would be, we've gifted rings to people in bands and all that kind of stuff before, and you never really get that exposure from a small piece of jewellery on a guy's hand, shot on a telephoto lens from the back of the stadium. It's nice when those people are wearing this stuff. It's really, really great. But yeah, I think our jewellery is definitely more about people. It's more about people finding. We always say, jewellery finds you. You don't really find your jewellery, because it is so personal. You can have 100 pieces of jewellery on the table, and 100 people can walk past, and they will all find something different that they like. So, in a sense, it is nice when people find that piece that speaks to them. You can kind of feel like maybe you've connected with them a little bit, but yeah.